How old were you?
I was about 10.
And you remember it clearly?
Clearly.
Rough?
Rough.
So
kind of, you know, you can see the, you know, the look that
you
your
remember
dad,
exactly
everything. You can remember, you know, to see the look that your dad gives you, knowing that he's
leaving.
Yeah, that he's leaving.
How often do you get to see him?
We like right after we were like really. I used to go over there like every other weekend and stay there. He'll take me to school on Mondays and stuff. But then as I got older, it was just more.
A little bit less.
Yeah, a little bit less.
Did it just happen that way?
Yeah, it just like happened. Like I haven't talked to him in a while. It's just
bummer.
Yeah.
You ever called him?
Yeah, I've called him before, but I mean, sometimes it's just I don't know.
Do you think this is? Do you think it's been a? Well, that's not a fair question. I was gonna say good or bad, but we'd always say bad. So, do you think it's made your life harder?
I think it's because
we know how great a kid you are. There's no reason to even discuss that. You're one of our best students. I heard some great things about you on the cross country track the other day, which I'm very proud of you for that, buddy. It's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Honestly, I think it's for me. It didn't really at that age because you know my dad. He's always that that person you
Tough.
always you always watch certain things with and it's not always that you can't always have that connection with your mom all the time.
Agreed, and that's why even when I'm now about to get married, I end up spending time alone to do the stuff I would have done with dad.
Yeah.
Like play video games or watch, as sexist as it sounds, guy shows.
Yeah.
Not Real Housewives.
Yeah. Stuff like that. I don't want to watch
What shows does your mom watch that drive you nuts?
She watches like these Korean.
Really?
Yeah, the Korean they call them novelas, which are like.
But from Korea?
Yeah, from Korea.
Are they in Spanish?
Yeah, they
so they're Korean, they're Asian people,
but
that's
like,
translated into Spanish.
Yeah, it's translated into Spanish. She
never heard of this in my entire life. Wow.
She watches it on YouTube and stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't want to watch that. Asian people sounding like Hispanics would be really weird.
It is pretty weird. I don't watch it. I can't. I see. I just walk by the living room.
So it's not even subtitled. It's dubbed. They're speaking Spanish, but it's not coming out of their mouths.
Nah. Yeah, it'll make it try to look like it is, but it's definitely not.
Que bola.
Yeah, it's
¿Cómo está?
It's just weird.
Muy bien, ¿y tú?
Yeah, that's exactly how it
That's the way we had to use to watch Godzilla back in the day, so I know how it is.
Yeah.
It's Godzilla. He's coming.
Yeah, it's weird.
So yeah, back to it. I mean, so I guess here was where the discussion was leading, and I'm sure it's going to be less controversial since Gonzalez left, because he loves to push that envelope on the show. Oh boy, I won't be doing that. Do you think it changes the idea of being a guy? Because you don't constantly have that guy in the background being, hey, be a guy.
Yeah, and also the fact that I could be a little. I feel like I'm a little bit emotional.
Which is, I was an emotional kid, and I had dad around and drove dad nuts.
Yeah.
I come home from school, and I was probably 20. No, at age 7, I'd come home and be like, the kids were pushing me around. He's like, you push them back?
Yeah.
Did you push them back? And I'm like, I don't want to push them back.
Yeah,
so I think you'll keep the emotions, which is awesome. Don't lose those.
Yeah, it's not a problem, but definitely not having my dad all the time around. Maybe push the emotion a little further.
Just because, just take my mom. My mom, and this is what was perfect, and this is the bummer, and so take this in and factor this in. My mother taught me the emotional lessons, and my dad taught me the, I guess street lessons. You know what I mean? Like, don't do this to people because it's wrong. And mom was just like, hold the door, say please and thank you.
Yeah, that's what my mom said.
And I felt like I got this perfect upbringing, even though they didn't get along.
Yeah.
I thought they provided me with a perfect upbringing.
Yeah, that's how I feel. That's how I feel. I don't hate my dad or anything.
Yeah. No, it was clear when you described the moment that.
Yeah, it was.
It's just a bummer that you lost. How far away does he live?
He doesn't live that far. He lives like around Manhattan.
But you don't see or talk to him often.
Nah.
Yeah, that's bad.
It's probably about.
That's a bummer.
25 minutes away from my house. 20, around there. But you know.
Well,
as he works and stuff like that.
As a guy who doesn't get to see his dad anymore because he passed away, do your best now to rekindle that, especially if nothing bad happened. Half the kids that have lost their dad have lost respect for their dad inside of it, whether it's because mom has painted this picture, which sometimes isn't fair. Human beings have their perspective. My dad did the opposite. He made my mom look horrible to my little brother.
Yeah.
And so they didn't see each other for like 6 years.
Yeah, like my sister kind of does that too. My sister's like 31. And
so she thinks of him badly?
No, she thinks of her dad badly.
Oh.
So she tries to, because I say, I don't hate my dad, even though he like left and all that, but he didn't like leave, but they divorced.
Yeah, so somebody's got to go, and that's weird. Yeah. Same, my mom chose.
She didn't want to, make me decide whether or not, if I wanted to go with him or not.
That was really nice of your parents to do that. But imagine what it took to be dad that day. Like this is the crazy stuff that we have to go through as kids, man.
It is.
This and maybe, because that's what Gonzalez would say is that, we have to go back to when people stayed together and to when, people were respectful. But you got to be realistic.
Yeah.
You live in the 21st century. This is going to happen. So how do we fix now and the future? I guess things like FaceTime help. Technology will help.
Technology helps sometimes.
But you're still not going to be, I'm surprised 25 minutes and you don't see each other that often.
Not that often.
Well, do your best. Don't let it, this is my, we could turn the camera off and I would tell you this. Try and rekindle it, man. Try and have your dad around. Because I went to my house. This is my story. This is like September. It was probably September 14th, 2003. So 2 years after 9/11.
Yeah.
And a few days after it. And I went home, and actually before 9/11 I went home. It's a hilarious story. I had a girl with me, and I think I was stopping to get something I needed from the house, which is an hour away from college, and I don't go back often. So I drove there with her. We pull in my yard. No one's home. All you needed was a credit card to get in the front door. This is the country. I'm surprised they even locked the door. Drive down the like quarter-mile driveway, trailer, walk up the man-made deck, real quick. Just you're in your house, no key needed, and so while I was inside, I was getting stuff, and then as we're about to leave, my dad's tearing ass down the driveway in his car, and he's got his gun out. And he's like, "Oh, it's you guys." Someone had called. This is a small town. Someone had called him at work and said, "There's people at your house," and they walked in the front door. Probably jimmied the door. So they didn't recognize my truck. Yeah. It's been years since I'd lived there.
It's true.
So we left 9/11 anniversary. So now it's like the 14th. I remember seeing something I needed, so I drove back by myself a few days later. And this time, my dad worked less than a mile from the house.
Yeah.
I didn't go see him at his job. So the last time I technically saw him was when he was waving a gun around, wondering why people were at the house. And you always have this regret. I mean, I don't want to say that I have regrets, but you still have this idea like, I should have probably seen him because he died 2 days later. You know what I mean? Yeah, so the lesson, of course, is don't wait.
Yeah, cherish.
Don't wait. And I know you don't have a car, right?
No.
So put it in your dad's court then.
Yeah.
I mean, it only takes one of y'all to try this.
It does.
And he's busy too, just like you are with school. But someday you'll look back and be like, I did this. I didn't even have to have my dad do it. So I think you should, Cesar. Call him this weekend. That's your homework. As your teacher and apparently stepdad, because Bachman's the first stepdad, which isn't fair. Look, get a job. When you didn't get picked for a job in class, I felt so bad because I knew he'd be.
I figured it would happen. I figured.
But figured. And of course, Elsie got one just because. I'm like, yeah, I'll make you bookkeeper.
Yeah, bookkeeper.
She's very good at that stuff.
Yeah, she definitely won't give that away at all.
No, I know she is probably the most trustworthy person in the school.
Yeah, she won't.
Well, good for you for knowing how to pick a girlfriend. Yeah. She's a quality girl. But yeah, that's your homework. I want to hear when you come in on Monday that you talk to your dad.
Definitely.
All right, good. Good. Do you see a solution for everybody? What would you do if you had, let's say you're 10 again, and from what you've learned from 10 to 17 or 18 now, do you see what kind of solution? Because you can't force people to stay together. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, when the arguing is.
Yeah, when it's terrorizing. I remember that too, man. I remember them fighting and just hiding.
It never got to the point where, it's just, like you
just yelling.
Yeah, it's just yelling.
Well, yeah, but we were on vacation one year. And so we're in a hotel room. And there's the 2 beds, one for the adults, one for the kids. They're fighting, and I'm just faking that I'm asleep because I don't want them to know that I can hear them. You know what I mean? It's terrifying.
It is. Because, you don't want to step in there at 10. 9, you don't want to.
And it's none of your business. Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, it's not.
They're adults. They should be able to handle this.
Yeah, and then, as I got older, because I kind of had an idea of what was going on at the time, but as I got older, they kind of explained it more of what really happened and stuff, and like why they.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, sometimes it's a great reason. Yeah.
Yeah, and I understood.
My mom was the good little Catholic girl who went to public high school. My dad dropped out of high school. So here she is, goody two-shoes. She sees Bad Boy, and my dad was like leader of a gang, up in Philly, and had a Mustang that he raced cars. All those movies from like the 1960s. That was my dad. Long hair, hippie. He would have loved my hair today. He did a ton of drugs, and my mom's just like, oh, I think I love him, And so they get married, have me, have my brother, and then somewhere along the way, my dad decided he didn't want to be that guy anymore, and so he just chilled out. And I don't think mom ever got used to that. I think she wanted the bad boy to stay around, and he stopped being the bad boy. Which is weird because most of those relationships, the woman wants to save the boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like,
I'm going to make him a good person. Which never works, by the way. This was his choice. And, so, 25 years into their marriage, she's like, nah, I think I'm over it. And who do you hate? Do I hate my mom for leaving? No, she was miserable. Do I hate my dad for not handling it well? I don't know. Yeah, we're going to have a talk when we meet again.
Yeah, it's one of those... like you said, those choiceless decisions.
Yeah, choiceless choices, good. Yeah, you can't judge them.
You can't.
I mean, and my poor brother, this is probably why I was tougher on my dad. My dad made him think that my mom was like a drug addict. Every lie you could do, he tried just to keep my brother on his side.
Wow.
And I still am kind of pissed at him about that. But there's another thing. Every boy hits a moment when they look at their dad and they judge them. It happens.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I realized one time when my dad was spouting off stuff about my mom when I came home from college once, he started saying stuff, and I looked at him and I was like, wow, I became a better person than you. It was weird. And I think every male does this where they decide.
Yeah.
When they look at their dad. Because when we were growing up, our dad is like God.
Yeah,
he is the best guy.
Yeah,
I want to be just like him. Yeah. He taught me how to play baseball, basketball, football. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was something.
And you hit that moment, and it's a life-changing event.
Yeah, but I definitely, it's what I think is hard is, having to adapt to, not having your dad there. To certain things, because certain things.
Well, you lost somebody you cared about. It's almost as if they died, but you get to see them once in a while.
Yeah. So it's like like my mom doesn't go to any of my games or nothing like that because sometimes she works at like 3 o'clock in the morning, so she's
single mom trying to make it work. Yeah, this is what we were talking about.
Yeah. So she's just always working and stuff. So she gets home. So I don't ever bother her or anything like that.
And you're doing probably exactly what she really wants.
Yeah, so when those days when, like, you know, you see him in the crowd, it's definitely like it's a really good feeling.
Yeah,
it's real. Like at the regional game.
He went to the big game
at Lehigh. Yeah, it was like, you know,
what a great thing for both people to see that.
Yeah, it was, you know, it was like
that game was crazy, man.
Well, I still that right there, I could.
It's impossible. That game's impossible.
I could picture it in my head.
I was sitting there with Emily. The fact that I drug Emily to that game says a lot, because she gets harassed by every student, and she doesn't know how to talk to them. She's all so quiet. When we were sitting there with, what is it, 40 seconds left? I'm like, oh, honey, they lost. Yeah. It's over. What were you, 7 points down? Impossible.
7, 6, around there.
It was 7.
Yeah.
Because there was a 3-pointer and then the 2 fouls. Yeah, or 2 3-pointers and then the fouls.
That was one. That was one. And then
it was.
Yeah, it was one. And then I remember we fouled them first, and then they made a free throw and missed one, and then we stole the ball, made a layup,
and
then that's when
full press.
And then that's when they traveled.
And this is the thing. The reason you guys won that game is because you were more mature. That team was 3 10th graders and 2 freshmen, right?
Yeah, we won. Yeah,
they're going to be tough to beat this year.
They're good.
But, I mean, they're going. I already made a bet with Coach Lee. No offense to you, but I made a bet to Coach Lee that they would make it back to that game again. And Coach Lee's like, nope.
They might.
So I got.
We changed.
I think I got $40 that he's going to be giving me.
Yeah, we changed
styles.
Districts.
Oh, we're not even in there?
Yeah, we're not even in there.
Oh, that's even better. So now I can cheer for them.
Yeah, so it's
make
a possibility.
My money.
It's a possibility.
Gambling's illegal, by the way, in the United States.
So it's a possibility that they really could get back there. So
did you feel one of the things we talked about in class with Charlize? She was one of the cheerleaders last year.
Yeah.
She came up to what was the Newport Richie team you guys played?
Yeah, Mitchell.
Yeah,
we talked about that in class a little.
Yeah, did you feel that from them in the crowd? It was so embarrassing for me being from Pasco County to hear this.
I didn't really hear anything towards like me, but you know.
But did you hear him saying it towards our black players?
Yeah, towards our teammates. Yeah.
Can you remember some of the stuff? And you can say it. It's not something.
You know, it's like why do they have to? Why do we have to play them? Like, stuff like that.
Why are we playing the black kids?
Yeah, why are we playing the black kids?
Because I knew it got. Charlize said she's never like. I think our kids understand racism.
Even the parents after the game were saying like, those people were getting out of hand, and even parents were getting mad. Like Cheese's mom, she she was about to get in an argument with someone behind her because he had said
something he said.
Yeah, something said.
See, I don't think, and maybe it's a good thing, but I don't think a lot of our students have ever really been around true racism.
Yeah, I don't think
maybe they've been racially profiled. You go as a teenager into a store and they follow you around and stuff. But going out to Pasco County, and this is so embarrassing for someone who was raised in Pasco County, because I was hoping that this had changed, and it's a shame. But I know that Charlize's life was changed because of the way she said she felt. Something was taken from her sitting in that basketball game, which was, wow, it really is still out there. It's not just something from the past, which sucks. And then the stuff over the summer with the flag and the cop stuff. It's
it's not. Doesn't seem to be.
It's not gone. I'm a dreamer. I'm a dreamer, and that's probably gonna hurt me someday. But yeah, like that's a rough game. But you guys did so well last year. We were so proud of you.
It's
a bummer when you guys ended up with, was it Northwest? Who'd you guys play? Norland.
Miami Norland. Yeah.
Oh, they're awesome. They were great. Yeah. You guys though, tell me if this is true. Was it weird to play on a court without a wall behind the basket?
Yeah, that's definitely what Coach was trying to emphasize.
Because depth is one. You don't realize it, but when you play in high school gyms, you're using that back wall with your eye as well when you shoot. So when you're in a stadium like that with no back wall,
and they've been there before,
you guys missed every shot. I don't mean to bring it up, but you guys missed every shot. And he said that probably for that reason.
He repeatedly always said that after the game.
Really?
We're in the locker room, we can't hit any shots. They're hitting all these shots because they've been there before.
They have. They're a very well-versed team.
Yeah. So
has he planned anything to where you guys are able to play in that setting to get it out?
Yeah, we practice at University of Tampa.
Awesome. So Coach Hayes is an awesome coach, man.
Yeah, he's an awesome coach. We practiced there for like that week that we had to prepare for the game and stuff. So we practiced there, and then one day we practiced at Tampa Catholic because their court is like the officials. So,
it is?
Yeah, it's the official length. So UT had a little bit of feeling. But when we got there, it was just like, wow. And then
it was, and just the sound of the ball.
Yeah, and then
totally different in a stadium like that.
Totally different. And then you got all these people.
And the pressure.
The lights.
The pressure.
Yeah, and then the pressure, of course. But I don't think anybody was really
too nervous.
Yeah, that nervous. But definitely the butterflies. You got all these people that could decide your future because they were at the game. All these colleges.
That's why. Do you think sports are fair to teenagers because of that? The amount of pressure that is placed on a teenager of their future? Or do you think it's societal, which is, why does a kid fully focus? And this isn't you. We know it's not you. You're going to be fine no matter what route you take. But take a football player, a basketball player who has put every egg into the basket, no pun intended, of becoming a college scholarship and a basketball player. Are we hurting kids?
Yeah, I mean, because
the backup plan is important.
Just like we talk about in econ, there's a lot of wants. But, not everybody can get it because there's not enough to go around for everybody.
True. True, and I think every human hits a point where they're like, I will never be rich.
Yeah,
but I can be wealthy. But I can be wealthy.
Kind of talked about that, like I talked to myself about that, like. Maybe, Division I basketball isn't, for me. It wasn't like a 10, like to put me down or anything, but, I had to face reality.
But the good thing is that you have a very good GPA.
Yeah, so,
and you're a great student. And cross country and all these other sports.
Yeah, and what happened is that, everything, I guess, when that happened, just like 2 days ago, I got a call from a Division III school. And he said that he wanted, to get to know me.
Nice.
And stuff like that.
So you're getting recruited. Good.
Yeah, so, it was like a great feeling to know that.
And what you're going to do is look at the college instead of the basketball team and say, is this where I want to go to college? And if it is, pay me to play basketball.
Yeah, I've looked at the college, and it's like, it's a great school.
Where's it at?
In Georgia.
Nice.
Atlanta.
Oh, in Atlanta?
In Atlanta.
Atlanta's a nice city.
I actually went there for a basketball camp, so I've seen.
So you've already seen it?
I've seen the gym and the outside, but I really haven't seen anything else. It looked like it's one of those private schools.
Yeah.
Old schools.
Look.
It looks good. Looks good.
My fiance went to HCC for 2 years, and then USF for graduation. She has a master's degree now and is successful.
Yeah.
The school you attend does not matter.
Yeah, it doesn't. So
it's whether you like the fit. So if you like that school, if you can afford it. I mean, one of the things we've been pushing kids for years is go to college, go to college, go to college. But the debt is hurting. Like,
it is.
Half of our teachers are still paying their debt to go to college. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you'll find the right route. That's the one thing we're not worried about you. Even Bachman, he's tough on you, but he's not worried about you.
Oh, yeah, I know.
You're going to do great.
But all right, Mr. Boyko, I'm going to head out to basketball
Cesar,
practice.
Oh, you got practice? Are you going to be late? Do I need to write you a pass? I'll write you a pass if you need it.
I don't know.
All right.
You want to, I guess.
I'll write you one. All right, everybody.
All right.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you. I sound great on here.
Yeah, it's the Boyko and Cesar show. Boyko and Cesar show. So we can go out with this. Sounds horrible. That was a great discussion. Thanks for being